Now the Chesapeake so bold sailed from Boston, we've been told, for to take the British frigate neat and handy, oh. The people in the port all came out just to see the sport, and the bands were playing Yankee Doodle Dandy, oh. The British frigate's name, which for the purpose came to cool the Yankee courage neat and handy, oh. As the Shannon captain broke, all her men were hearts of oak, and at fighting were allowed to be the dandy-o. The fight had scarce begun ere they flinched from their guns, which at first they started working neat and handy-o. Then brave Broke, he waved his sword, crying, "Now, my lads, aboard, and we'll stop their playing Yankee Doodle Dandy-o." They no sooner heard the word than they quickly jumped aboard and hauled down the Yankee colors neat and handy-o. Notwithstanding all their brag, now the glorious British flag at the Yankee mizzen peak was quite the dandy-o. Here's a health, brave Broke, to you, to your officers and crew, who aboard the Shannon frigate fought so handy-o. And may it always prove that in fighting and in love, the British star forever is the dandy-o. And may it always prove that in fighting and in love, the British star forever is the dandy-o.
Hello, everyone. That song you just heard is called Shannon and the Chesapeake. The lyrics were written in the aftermath of a naval battle in 1812, and the song was performed by Greg Wyshak. Welcome to Peek into Paintings. My name is Anne Siskanik. I'm the digital education intern at the Penobscot Marine Museum in Searsport, Maine. Today, we are going to learn about an English painter, an American war, and the story of how Maine achieved statehood. The painting we are looking at today is the HMS Shannon and USS Chesapeake, and the battle between these two ships was the inspiration for the song we just heard. This piece was painted in 1815 by Thomas Buttersworth Sr., an English painter. He created many paintings over the course of his career, and many of them focus on the War of 1812, like this one. The painting you see here depicts two naval ships, one with a British flag and the other with two American flags. These ships are locked in combat, as you can see from the smoke and flames on board the American ship. You can see the incredible amount of details that Buttersworth included. The artist served as a master of arms in the Royal Navy, so he would be very familiar with the details of ships like these. This painting is only 25 inches tall and 35 inches wide, so the amount of detail in this painting is really impressive. You can also see some tiny ships in the background, showing that the scene is near a port. This battle took place outside of Boston, so that's the port city we're seeing in the background, and those ships are part of a spectator fleet, watching the battle from a safe distance. There are a few hints as to what's going on here. As we saw before, there are two American flags flying from the masts on the vessel to the right, and up at the top, we see another flag that reads, "Free Trade and Sailors' Rights." So this places the scene squarely during the War of 1812. The slogan on the flag sums up the motivations behind the United States declaring war on Great Britain during the year 1812. The British Navy, at war with France, was seizing American goods from ships supposedly trading with their enemy, the French. The British also impressed American seamen, meaning that they forcibly conscripted British-born or formerly British citizens from American ships into the British Navy. Thomas Jefferson, president in 1807, attempted to protect American rights by establishing an embargo, banning first imports and then exports into the country. But this ended up harming the Americans more than their enemy, as the British found other markets and the United States fell into an economic depression. Protests ended up breaking out throughout the country, including Maine. Maine, perhaps more than any other state, was negatively affected by the embargo, since it relied so heavily on imports for goods, as well as had an exports-based market for their principal commodities, lumber and fish. War was declared in 1812 by Congress, and the battle depicted here took place almost exactly a year later. On the back of the British ship, you can see the name of the vessel. This is the HMS Shannon, and the other is the USS Chesapeake. Now, there's a great deal of smoke on the side of the American ship, telling us that these ships are locked in combat. The Shannon fired off 362 shots for the Chesapeake's 158, and the subsequent battle on board lasted less than 15 minutes. Though the American captain, James Lawrence, had urged his men with the words, "Don't give up the ship." Lawrence died soon after as a prisoner of war, but the British were so favorably impressed with him that 5 officers ended up serving as his pallbearers. A total of 226 men were killed or injured in this battle. Now, what about the lack of smoke from the Shannon? The 362 shots from the British ship won them a great victory here. So where's the evidence of that? Let's take a look at this image from an unidentified British artist depicting the same battle. This is called the Shannon Engaging the Chesapeake near Boston, North America. It was created in 1815, probably by a British officer or sailor who witnessed the skirmish. What do you notice about this piece? Well, for one thing, the smoke from the Shannon is there, showing us how overwhelming the attack was from the British. So this watercolor is most likely more accurate than Buttersworth's painting, though nowhere near as detailed as his. It would appear that Thomas Buttersworth did not want to spoil the overall effect of the Shannon, so there is no smoke around the ship in his painting. This clearly demonstrates Buttersworth's British loyalties. Now, the lighting and mood can also give us some hints as to what Buttersworth was going for. The lighting is dramatic and seems to glow, giving us a sense of the impending victory for one of these ships. And the water has movement to it. You can see waves, but it isn't out of control, hinting that the British ship is in control of the situation. These 2 paintings are done by James Buttersworth, either Thomas's son or grandson, and the amazing lighting is present here as well, clearly an influence from Thomas. The details of the ships are still present here, making the Buttersworths some of the best artists of maritime subjects. Now, the War of 1812 is often overlooked in history, but it has some strong connections to Maine's history and is a big part of the reason that Maine achieved statehood. Most of the fighting happened further south along the coast, but one battle did happen on the coast of Maine specifically. That was between the British brig Boxer and the American brig Enterprise, 3 months after the defeat of the Chesapeake. Maine residents did not feel that Massachusetts, whose territory they belonged to, defended them during the war, and so eventually won their statehood in 1820. Now, our collection at the Penobscot Marine Museum has more artifacts and paintings connected with these stories. This includes a painting and photograph of Captain Pendleton, seen here, and he was a Searsport resident and captain. He was captured by a British privateer in 1812. We also hold many more Buttersworth paintings in our collection, and that is available to view online in our database. Thank you all so much for coming. We hope you enjoyed this peek into paintings, and we hope to see you at the next one.